karramna bani Adam. We have been ennobled by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for several reasons. One of them is this, because we have this something as extraordinary in our nature. There is a hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this reflects the very nature of our Creator that we embody within ourselves. What is the hadith? Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala خلق الرحمة. Allah created the rahmah and He proportioned that rahmah into 100 portions. Allah created compassion, rahmah, and He proportioned that, divided into 100 portions. And He reserved 99 out of that for Himself. 99 portions of love and compassion are with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is only one that Allah has distributed among all of His creations, only one portion, one segment out of that. And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, subhanAllah, any activity, any move that you see based on compassion and love and care, it is all as the result of that one tiny portion. So much so, even the animal, horse, or the cattle would not place its hoof on its baby animal as a result of that compassion, so that it does not hurt that animal, does not hurt the baby. So this example that Rasulullah gave, it is for us to, at least those of us, unfortunately, those who live in urban life and no longer connected to nature and country lifestyle, is hard to understand this example. Those who associate themselves with cattle and animals, they can understand it better. Because when we have, cows, buffaloes, let's say cows and horses and other types of cattle, so when the baby goes to suckle the breast, the udder of the animal, so it is at the back, and the animal is not able to see that. And in the midst of that, there is a possibility that the animal may lift the leg and hurt the baby. But the animal is so cautious, even though not able to really turn around easily and right away to see, but each and every move when the baby is around that she takes is to protect, to comfort, and at the same time to care for the animal. So this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used this as an example. But like I said, we have this as a distinct nature within ourselves. And therefore one of the poets of the Indian subcontinent said something very remarkable that is to reflect this, what I have just alluded you to. He says, दर्द दिल के वास्ते पैदा किया इंसान को, दर्द दिल के वास्ते पैदा किया इंसान को, वरना ताअत के लिए कुछ कम न थी कर्रूबियाँ. It's a deep in meaning and also in the language, but the meaning and the essence of the message is this. One of the objectives and reasons that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created human beings is to care and comfort and look after each other. Look after each other. And then he says, وَرْنَا طَاعَتْ كِلِيَ كُشْ كَمْ نَتِي كَرُّوبِيَا. If it was just the matter of worship, if it were to be just the matter of worship, then Allah had enough of the angels that are devoted to do that 24/7. Right? We know that the number of angels, لَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. The armies of Allah that are the angels, Allah alone knows, and they are so huge in number, as Rasulullah ﷺ said, right above Ka'batullah there is Baytul Izzah, the house of honor, that is filled with angels. And just to get an idea, Prophet ﷺ said each and every moment 70,000 angels present doing the tawaf of the Baytul Izzah. And once they do that, they will never have the second turn and second honor to return to it. And it is always busy. So you and I get oftentimes more than once opportunities in life to do tawaf, right? But for those angels that are there, they only get once. So this shows the number of angels that are there. So he says that angels were enough if it were to be for just to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there are more than that. There is more than that is expected of us and expected from us. And that is, like I said, to to be the Khalifatullahi ala al-ard. So all what I am trying to highlight in light of this is to recognize the situation, the plight of our Muslim brothers and sisters in Syria, in Turkey and Syria and Lebanon, the devastating state, the conditions they have been put in. Allah alone knows the hikmah behind these types of tragic events, but we do know for a fact, according to some of the hadiths of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, although these are the natural disasters, nature takes its course and plays its role. But there are also inner dimension, a spiritual dimension to that. And Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, when there is an evil going to be rampant in the world, people will no longer comply to their obligations, and they will turn their back to the religion. They will not hold themselves to the moral standard, religious standards. Then what the a'mal go up as a result of that, the actions of the believers and people, which is why we need to all take heed from events like this. Rectifying oneself, reflecting and retrospection is one of the key points here. But asides that, what we are called to in this situation, of course, is to respond to it through our du'as, through our support, and through our care. And that is what we collectively as the Ummah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam have a moral and religious responsibility. The images and the news coverage, pretty much all of us have seen, and when it all had happened, we did not have the idea what were to unfold in the next few days. As I speak, the number of deaths continues to rise and it increased, right? And when I just checked last night, it was more than 20,000 people. Imagine more than 20,000 people. It's not just 500, 1,000, 2,000, more than 20,000. They continue to discover the bodies. There were many babies, they lost their parents, many parents who lost their children, their loved ones. All of this happened in a blink of a second, and that region was hit by this very devastating, violent earthquake, according to the reports, the 5 times back to back. As a result of that, it really wiped the whole localities and villages and cities from the map. So back to back 5 very powerful earthquake. And therefore the devastation is very, very, very massive and very powerful, very violent. And therefore we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala al-afiyah for all of us and for each and every human being, regardless of the faith and creed, because Allah says something in the Quran, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. Allah says that human beings at the end of the day, they are weak. And we cannot bear and face catastrophe and devastations like this. So what we wish for ourselves, we must wish, and we are to wish the same for each and every one around the globe. But we have also some obligations to, fulfill in this regard, like I said. And I had some sessions of counseling yesterday and even before. What was very shocking to me that some of the bickering between spouses over peer issues when the world is going through such a turmoil. It really hit me hard, feeling that people have lost the sense of responsibility to think, is this something to really worry about? Is this something really to fight over? When Muslims across the globe, especially at this moment, what they are going through, like if I may to use this word, like going through hell in their life. It is that difficult for them. You went to sleep, and you went to sleep knowing that you will be waking up, but when you wake up, you find yourself literally on the street. You find yourself on the street in few moments. You find yourself lost each and everything, including your loved ones, in a matter of seconds and minutes. It is this powerful, right? So these natural disasters, they are a very powerful wake-up call and warnings to readdress our wrong and behavior and improve. But we continue to see our ghaflat, astaghfirullah al-azim. This is why Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala and many of the ulama of his spiritual discipline, they said the most devastating thing that can happen to anyone is the ghafla. Because once a person is in the state of heedlessness, he could be in the midst of the best of the things to benefit from, or the most dreadful thing to remind himself and take nasiha from, but he will live in his own little bubble, ignoring all what is around. So ghafla is the greatest enemy of human being. And this is what shaitan does. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the hadith, he said, "Inna shaytana jasimun ala qalbi ibn Adam." Shaitan takes full control of Ibn Adam, his heart. And he does so in a way that will engage him or her in things that are of trivial matters, of no importance, or of sinful nature. And the person will live his life or her life that way, but the other one, on the other hand, is the one who recognizes it and makes istighfar and makes dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِذَا ذَكَرَ اللَّهِ, the moment he remembers Allah, the moment he recalls Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khanasa, shaitan retreats and leaves him. And وَإِذَا غَفَلَ, and the very moment then he turns a blind eye to the orders of Allah and to the dhikr of Allah, waswasa, he starts to put wasawis in his heart. So this is what shaitan loves to do, and this is what shaitan is always engaged in doing. Keeping us engaged in things that are of no importance, or secondary importance, or of sinful nature, etc., etc. And so that we tend to forget the priorities in life, the important things in life. And then فَيَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا, and they think that they are doing the best of the things. So this is why, my dear brothers and elders, brothers and sisters, this is the situation that we are dealing with. And therefore, to my knowledge, there is not any organization that is collecting funds, and even, subhanAllah, not just Muslims, there are many charitable NGOs and non-Muslims, or non-Muslim organizations, they all are active at this moment to help our Muslim brothers and sisters in Syria from top to bottom. And therefore, we have to take this as an advantage. Even Turkish airline, I'm sure you have heard, they are responding to this by carrying all the emergency aid free of charge. And as a result of that, mashallah, there's a campaign right here, and all the masajid, they are collecting not just the financial aid, but also certain other emergency kits that you can provide for them. And you can, inshallah, drop them on behalf of BCMA at Masjid al-Salam, and local cash could be collected and donated here at our masjid today, inshallah al-Aziz, and beyond. I want to mention two other points before I conclude. One of the things, like I said in the beginning, this human nature to feel and to care for others, it is one thing to recognize, but the other, what is important, that there is so much reward has been promised by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in doing so. Why? Because you are, at the end of the day, caring for a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is in distress, who is in need of your help. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in times like this, test both those who are mubtalan and those who are mu'afat, and those who are afflicted and those who are in the state of well-being. The test for those who are afflicted is to remain patient and seek afiyat and help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the test for those who are like ourselves, who have not been afflicted by things like this, is our test is, how do we see this and what do we do in this? How do we take this and what role do we play in this? That is our test. And each will be questioned and treated and interrogated accordingly on the Day of Judgment. Each. And anything, this is why the bond of Islam is to prove that it is the greatest and the strongest bond that the people of faith have among themselves. This is the greatest and the strongest bond that we need to prove that we have among ourselves, that supersedes and exceeds all other national and ethnic barriers and go beyond. And therefore, some of the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that are there, he said, "Al-mu'minu lil-mu'mini kal-bunyan, masal al-mu'minina في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد. This is a beautiful example that our Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam gave. He said, the parable and the example of one believer to the rest of the ummah. One believer, just you as one individual, but to the rest of the ummah. Think about that. مثل المؤمنين في توادهم. The example of yourself in comparison to the rest of the ummah is like one part and organ of your body in compared to the rest of your body. Just eye, finger, nail, whatever it may be, which is as tiny as it is. But in comparison to the rest of your body, is it not part of yourself? Is it not part of yourself? And if it is, then whenever that little portion or organ is affected, so do you think that it is only this much, or do you really feel the pain all over? From head to toe you are restless, and you make sure that you attend to it, and you care for it, and you treat it. So similar is the case Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, you know, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسهر والحمى وكما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. And in another hadith, Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام said, the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with those who are in the help and service of his slaves. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in more than one narration, you know, the aun Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wallahu fi aun al-abd ma kana al-abdu fi auni akhihi. And we all are fuqara ila Allah, regardless of our financial status, regardless of our prestigious status. We all at the end of the day are fuqara ila Allah, beggars before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that is the case, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, so your resources that you have, they all are from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want those resources to continue to be with you, to continue to sustain and support you, you must care for those who are in pain, in suffering, and in need. And that so long as you are doing that, the resources from Allah will continue to be with you. But the moment you cut off, the resources from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are also going to be seized. Allahu fi auni al-abd ma kana al-abdu fi auni akhihi. In another hadith, Prophet ﷺ said, you know, it is a lot, beloved, better that I feel that I do this than to just perform salah, than to even do. Rasulullah ﷺ, we know whatever he did sets a precedence, right? So he said in the hadith that is reported in Mu'jam al-Kabir al-Tabarani, Prophet ﷺ said, أحب الناس إلى الله سبحانه وتعالى أنفعهم إليه. Among the people that are those who are very beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are the ones that are beneficial to others. Beneficial to others. How can you be beneficial to others? Those who are in the service of others. Those who are in the service of others. And then he says, furthermore, أحب الأعمال الله سبحانه وتعالى. Among the deeds that are very beloved to Allah is to do certain things that is going to bring delight to the hearts of a Muslim, whether it is through words of kindness or some charitable work. In this case, whatever you can. And then furthermore, Rasulullah said, or takshifu anhu kurbatan, removing the distress the person finds himself in, or paying off their qarz and fulfilling their needs. All of these things are going to be seen as very beloved acts besides prayer and hajj and all of those ones that we generally know its value and importance. But then furthermore, Prophet ﷺ said, even repelling their hunger from them by providing few morsels of food. And at the end he said, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that if لأن أمشي مع أخي في حاجة, that myself walking along with a Muslim person to fulfill his need, that if I am to walk with someone to take care of their needs and spending whatever time and energy that I need in this regard, Prophet ﷺ said, it is far better than doing 1 month of i'tikaf in Masjid Nabawi, he said. 1 month of i'tikaf. He pointed towards Masjid Nabawi. He said, going to fulfill the need of a Muslim, it is far better than that, to spend 1 month in i'tikaf in Masjid Nabawi. So this is why Ibn Shabrma rahimahullah ta'ala, one of the great muhaddis, he said something ajib. He said, إِذَا طَلَبْتَ حَاجَتَكَ مِنْ أَخِيكَ. You had a situation, a need, a genuine one. If in this case, as we know, the situation our Muslim brothers and sisters, they have. And when you asked your need from a Muslim brother and he did not, وَلَمْ يُجِهِدْ نَفْسَهُ فِي قَضَاءِ حَاجَتِكَ, and he did not exhaust himself in complying your request and taking care of your need, he said, then he said, فَتَوَضَّأْ وُضُوءَكَ لِلصَّلَاةِ, then perform wudu and perform 4 rak'at and rather he said 4 takbirat, and وَصَلِّ عَلَيْهِ صَلَاةَ الْجَنَازَةِ, and pray as if like Salat al-Janazah, because this individual, though physically alive, but his heart is dead. Because despite seeing whatever has happened to the person, as we all have seen the images, if it did not move him, what else can move him? What else can move him, right? To see things like this, which means his heart is completely dead. So he is like walking dead among the human beings. And Hakim ibn Hizam, one of the great, Sahaba radiyallahu anhu ajma'in, he says, each morning when I wake up, I anticipate that someone is to knock on my door to seek his need to be fulfilled. If a day passes by, nobody comes to my door, I think, innaha lamin al-masa'ib. I see someone not coming, in itself is a musibah for me. That means I have responsibilities to care for others. So all of these are the examples, and this was the sunnah of Anbiya. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, look what he did towards his brothers who treated him, how they treated him. Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, what he did when he went to Madain. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, how he used to care for those who even tried to take his life. So last but not least, my dear brothers and sisters, this is our responsibility. And this zalzala is to remind us of the most violent and the most powerful of zalzala that is yet to take place towards the end of time. And that is going to, as Rasulullah has explained even before that, the Quran itself, in more than 4 to 5 places, Allah has mentioned, the nature of violent zalzala that is going to take place. Ibn Kathir rahmatullahi alayhi, in commenting those ayat, in zalzala the sa'ati shay'un azim, Allah says. And Ibn Kathir rahimahullah, explaining this, he says, the earth and the mountains on earth on that day, because of the powerful violent shaking, will be such like a boat in the midst of tidal waves that are hitting from all sides. From all sides. And as a result of that, everything will be dismantled and will come to dust. And this is exactly what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. The mountains that we see, as powerful, as big they are, kathiban mahila, they will reduce to dust and they will be floating in the air like the particles of dust. Mountains. I mean, we have never seen like this in any of these powerful earthquakes, that the mountains were displaced and then brought to ashes, brought to dust. But that will be the case when the zalzala of Qiyamah will take place. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the afiyah and salama. We hope and pray that we will respond to this call, and please donate generously for this very noble and important cause. Inshallah, you can use your cards if you don't have cash. The machine we have, alhamdulillah, available. And if you need the receipt, it can be also given to you. Barakallahu feekum. Subhanallah bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayh. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala al-mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح